In 2026, the difference between an average software engineer and a top tier one is technically not the language or framework they are using. The actual difference that is going to be done is because of the AI tools they are using in their day-to-day work. I have been actually researching on top AI tools that every engineer should actually use for the past 60 days, and in this particular video I'm going to talk about 7 of the top ones that I actually found. And interestingly, a lot of these I myself am actually using in my day-to-day work. Miss any one of these and you are actually coding like it's still 2022 or 2023. I am Sanket and I have shipped production grade code at big tech companies including Google, Microsoft, LinkedIn and Meta. And in this particular video, I'm not going to just list down these tools that I'm recommending, but I'll also tell you how you can actually efficiently use it, what are some of the interesting use cases that you can actually find in your day-to-day work to actually work on these tools. And in the end, you will be absolutely end-to-end updated on what these tools are actually meant for and how you can efficiently use them. So here's the rule for making this particular list. I actually kept 3 important things in mind. First, the tool should drastically reduce your time to actually do a task. Second, the tool should actually empower you to do things that you were actually not able to do very simply in earlier, or I would say the pre-AI stage. Third, the tool should actually change the way you think as an engineer and should empower you to actually focus on more system and scaling aspects of the product rather than the basic grunt work. We are going to explore some of the tools that maybe you might have also heard about to the ones that are actually new to a lot of you, and in each one of these I'm going to provide some interesting use cases that I actually find in my day-to-day work. So let's just start. Okay, so let's start talking about the first tool. Now, before I talk about any one of these, please keep a note that none of the tools that I'm going to mention has actually sponsored this particular video. Everything that I'm telling you is based on my pure experience working full-time in the industry, using a lot of AI tools in my day-to-day work, and based on that only I have cumulated this list. Now, the first one is the AI IDEs, and to be very honest, I am very frequently and a lot of time using Cursor, right? Now, this can be kind of like a topic of debate between a couple of people that whether you should use Cursor or let's say use directly some coding agents like Claude Code. So see, I have a couple of preferences, and because of those, I really love Cursor. First, a lot of times I want to write at least a bit of code with my own hands, and Cursor provides a very good integration for autocomplete. So that's a great thing. Plus in Cursor, you have option of a lot of different models. And I truly believe that in a lot of different use cases, I do tend to switch the models as well, and very easily you will be able to switch to kind of like your context window, whether you want it to be a fast model or a thinking based model, right? How much effort you want to have. So kind of like a good customization across models you are able to get. Plus, Cursor does a lot of things in terms of setting up your code base to make the searches faster a lot. Cursor actually sets up the complete index of your code base on their own end so that whenever you are trying to do some tasks, those tasks can be efficiently done. Specifically, if there is any searches required, if you want to see how exactly a particular thing is already done, all of these things is pretty frequently, or I would say pretty fast done, because the vector embeddings that Cursor on their own side actually prepares. Plus, earlier there was not a very good support of spinning up multiple agents. Now there is a good support of multiple agent spinning using multitask. So for example, you can give a prompt, and in that prompt, if you will ask it to spin up multiple agents, for example, let's say there is a feature where you want one agent to work just on the front end, one agent to work just on the back end, one agent to work on the infra side, let's say build up all of your Docker files, or let's say any particular YAML files all together. All of these things which are independent can be actually spinned up parallelly. So the multi-agent support is also coming up really, really well. And of course, you have your own terminal, so you will be able to add a lot of things directly from the terminal to the context to the agent here. So I really like this whole support of where I don't have to like go to terminal based. And in fact, if you don't want this ID look, there is a complete agentic window that you can actually start with, and the whole view will actually change to something very similar to that of Claude Cowork, or let's say OpenAI Codex, right? So that kind of like interface you also get. An interesting thing is, because of the fact that Cursor does a lot of improvements and a lot of pre-preparation on there. And like, for example, they prepare something like an abstract syntax tree to actually make sure that if there are any, let's say, linting errors or something coming up, it also automatically rectified with the corresponding coding agent. So these things actually improve the overall dev experience, I believe, very well. And as I said, for example, you can use the agent window, right? So you can see this is a more agentic window. You can actually come up and start directly spinning up multiple agents right from here. So that's pretty good. If you don't want to use a cursor, then you can also directly use Claude Code. I very frequently use Claude Code as well in situations where I don't have to do a lot of like dedicated work task. If I have to do just some quick fixes or directly spin up something from my terminal, I actually use Claude Code as well, right? The only problem that I find is you only have options of anthropic models. There are, of course, alternative to that, like open code and all, but I don't use them. There might be a chance that, let's say, if you're working in a company, you get only access to a couple of resources. So I just try to jump between Cursor and Claude Code. So the second tool that I very frequently use is the Warp terminal. So you can say it's a kind of like a more modified version of your regular terminal. If you're already using your terminal, great. You can try to actually start using Warp. The benefit of Warp is that there are auto completion and recommendations that you can actually get. And in here, you can actually talk in natural language and it will automatically figure out all the commands that, let's say, you don't remember. For example, there's a lot of times that you have a very long Docker compose or Docker related commands, or a lot of times, for example, I forget what's the command to actually check what process is running in a particular port and so on. So these things actually become very handy to handle with Warp. For example, let's say there's a process running on port 3000 here. I can actually ask Warp that, okay, so if I, let's say, come up here and let's say just ask, is there any process running on port 3000 on my machine, right? It will just automatically figure out the command that you can actually use. And you can see it automatically figured out, and you can see, yes, port 3000 is currently in use. Can we kill the process on port 3000? Okay. And let's see whether it is able to kill it or not. So let's wait for it. And again, depending on what plan you have, you will be able to do that. The good part about Warp is, again, you get access to a lot of different models. So you can actually choose what works best for you. You can see it's asking me to kill this. So let's say, let's run this particular command and you will be able to do all of your tasks very easily, right? So you can actually see this process is technically killed here, right? So that's what I like about Warp. The good part is from here directly, you can spin up Claude Code as well, right? For example, I can execute the Claude command and you can see Claude Code also can spin up. If you do not want to use Claude Code, as I said, so this also has agentic capabilities, right? You can actually use this whole Warp terminal as a dedicated set of agents. You can individually create new chats and have dedicated agents, and with that you will be able to spin up the agents with any of these models. So you can say that you get kind of like an interesting variation of open code, where you don't have to just use agents. You get kind of like a more improved terminal as well. So if you want to replace your old terminal with something which is ultra fast and kind of like more modern, you have your command line history, it auto completes your commands, that's best. Plus, if you want more agentic capabilities, it's good for you because you will be able to choose across agents, right? You can use open code if you want just your regular terminal and you want to spin up multiple agents by using different models apart from Claude. Otherwise, you can use Claude Code. So you can see a lot of time, if you see my dev workflow, I spend a lot of time with Warp, and Cursor and Claude Code. I try to like kind of like hang between all of these three. This actually works very good for me. Okay, wait, a quick check. If you have been finding value in this particular video, then please do drop a like on the video. This will actually help YouTube understand that you are enjoying the video, and it will actually push this to more developers who can actually get some value from this video. Also, do drop a comment and tell me what tools you are already using, maybe from the list, or some of them which didn't make to my list but are actually absolutely crazy for your use cases. Trust me, I read every one of those. Now, let's get back to the video. Now, the third tool, of course, is the dedicated Claude desktop application, which gives me access to Claude Cowork. I really use Claude Cowork in a lot of different situations. For example, sometimes I have to analyze what is the feature requirements. I have to analyze a lot of documents, right? Those kind of things I very frequently do, which are not like very dedicated coding efforts, but I have to do some research, I have to read some documentation, get some ideas for my own regular chores as well, right? If I want to see how my portfolio is performing, right? How exactly I have to plan a particular project, I have to plan a particular thing. For all of these things, I use Claude Cowork very regularly, because I can create project, dump all of my kind of like knowledge list here, and start prompting and get ideas around that. I made a dedicated video on how you can get started with Claude. You can technically watch that. Again, you can choose from the options that you have available. Of course, again, there are alternatives, like for example, you can use Codex as well, but I generally use Claude Cowork. So all of these, I would say regular questioning, like if I have to regularly ask questions around something that I want to learn, something that I want to understand, Claude normal chat or Claude Cowork works best for me. One simple thing that I have also done, for example, in my normal browser window, whenever I open a new tab, I just get the Gemini search out of the box. So if I have to like just very fast do a search very quickly, and like I'm already doing something on the browser, this thing also helps me. But again, you can install the extension which can help you to open Gemini directly from your browser. So that's also going to be interesting. So this is the third tool that I believe every developer should definitely use, which is Claude Cowork. Now, the next tool is one very interesting tool, which is for your code reviews, right? So for code reviews, you can use something like CodeRabbit or something like Greptile. Both are pretty good tools and have got good use cases and good adoption in the industry as well, because it's not just about you are writing code. A lot of times you miss a lot of corner cases, and the code written by AI can be a bit more sloppy, and you feel like, okay, everything is working fine, but sometimes you just miss a couple of corner cases. So for good code reviews, CodeRabbit and Greptile can be really good. They get really well integrated with your whatever version controls and like GitHub, GitLab, whatever you are using. So I believe definitely you should try to hop on to a few code reviewing tools and these code reviewing agents. You can also make sure that you try to opt in for a few skills. Like, so for example, in Claude Code, or let's say Cursor directly, you can add a lot of skills for Claude Code, and those skills can actually review code for you. So that can be one level of code review that you can already do. But these review agents are actually meant for doing a lot of improvements, giving you suggestions, etc. So I believe definitely you should try it out. If you want to know what kind of like skills you can actually use, so for example, you can just go and search for code review skill Claude, right? And you can see you will get this code review skill altogether directly from Anthropic. So you can actually install it in, and you can even install your skills on Cursor. So for example, if you go to Cursor settings, right? And let's say if I just search for agents, and let's go, so you can see this is the context window, or let's see, where do we get our skills? So we can search for it, skills. Right. So yeah, here it is. So you can actually install a couple of skills. For example, these are the skills that I have. You can install a new skill altogether. And just like how you install skills in Claude Code, you can install skills in Cursor as well. But still, I believe from this, if you are opting in for a dedicated code reviewing tool, there are a few more add-ons that you actually get for shipping higher quality code. So use something like CodeRabbit, Greptile, and there are a couple of more options you can definitely try out. So this would be my next recommendation, that try to use code reviewing agents as a software engineer. This will definitely improve the amount of, or the quality of code that you are actually writing and shipping. Now, as a developer, there will be a lot of times when you have to write your own custom agents and solve dedicated problems. Now for that, there are some tools and frameworks which are actually built for interacting with the LLMs in a very interesting way and writing agents that can actually scale. LangChain and LangGraph as an ecosystem is one of the most widely adopted and most widely used. So you can see a lot of actually companies are actually using LangGraph altogether to write their own agents which are working in production. So very good integration for Python and a node you will find for LangChain and LangGraph. So do definitely check it out. And let's say like there are a few things that LangChain and LangGraph I believe miss. For example, if you have long running tasks and you have long running agents, then you might have to patch in a couple of message queues and kind of like tweak your infrastructure a bit more, right? So there are some solutions that you can actually opt in for. For example, there is something called as AgentX. This actually uses temporal for long running tasks, and you can actually make agents very, very easily altogether. You can go through the documentation, or you can use something like Creo AI, right? You will find a lot of good documentation for QA as well. If you want to build like agents with minimal efforts, you can actually use that. So I believe LangGraph and AgentX would be something that you can actually use for writing agents that can actually scale. And Creo AI would be something with which you will be able to make these agents in a much more simpler way. So try to look out for these tools. This would be highly recommended from my side, because as a software engineer in this era, you will definitely be required to create your own AI agents as well. Now, if you're writing code in production and you are actually making AI agents which are working in production and working on scale, then Light LLM would be one of the most interesting tools that you would definitely would like to check. You can say it can act as a gateway layer between your code and any LLM platform. Let's say you want to integrate Anthropic's LLMs like Claude, or let's say OpenAI's LLM like GPT, or let's say you want to use some provider. For example, nowadays Azure and AWS also have their services with which you can get exposed to these LLMs. Now, you do not need to make sure that you wire your code according to every specific and dedicated LLM or whatever tool you are using. You can use Light LLM as kind of like a unified translation layer and a gateway between your code and LLM. And all of your API logic will be written with respect to Light LLM in mind. And Light LLM will be able to actually orchestrate the calls to the corresponding agent. So for example, if you have a fleet of agents also working, you can actually patch it in with respect to Light LLM, and you will be able to directly call Light LLM. Interestingly, it gives a couple of more features as well. For example, observability features around LLMs, guardrails if you want to actually provide rate limiting, dedicated logging and whatnot, right? So you can actually check the docs on how you can actually get started with the Light LLM. Very, very interesting tool if you are actually building agents, and if you are working in the industry, you will definitely find use cases for Light LLM altogether. So do check it out. Highly, highly recommended from my side. I have actually tried it out, worked with this, works really great, right? Also, a couple of add-on mentions that didn't make to the top list, but definitely you can definitely explore. For example, there is a platform called as Mintify. You can actually explore for good documentation driven by AI and kind of like create your own knowledge platform so that all of your team documentation and everything can stay at one place. If you don't like this, an alternative for Mintify would be something like Notion, right? You can explore Notion, very great tool if you want to keep all of your documentation of your team in one place and kind of like explore and search across that documentation, make a knowledge graph, a lot of things you can actually do. Also, one interesting thing that you can explore is the Jam.dev, right? This is kind of like an AI tool where you have actually issues in your production, then it kind of like records everything and gives you dedicated set of logs, events, makes a ticket for you and a lot of things. So for example, if you want to improve a bit of more observability on your end and you do not want to be into the case where you have to reproduce the issues, this can be a great tool to actually try. So overall in the ecosystem, you can see a lot of interesting tools are actually coming up. It's just that what you are using more frequently will work for you, and what actually sets, or I would say is good for your use cases and what kind of projects you are actually working with. So I hope the overall video was useful and you are able to actually derive some really insightful tools that you can actually start using for your day-to-day work. I would love to know what different tools you actually use in your day-to-day work, and please do drop a comment telling about that, and also share some feedbacks around what more similar videos you would like to actually see. Also, AlgoCamp is launching its first AI engineering cohort. The waitlist form for that is in the description section below. So if you're somebody who is willing to learn how you can actually apply the concepts of AI engineering in real life projects, if you want to actually learn all of these concepts and understand how they are actually used in the industry, then this is going to be a power-packed course for you and help you to prepare for any AI engineering interview as well. So do check out the link in the description section below. And with that, let's wrap this particular video here. We are going to meet soon in the next set of videos where we are going to talk about some more interesting concepts around software engineering and AI. Till then, take care. Bye-bye. I'm Sanket Singh, signing off.